right? It's just one of the problems today with our society and the way that the state has intervened, it is actually come between people in establishing strong relationships,
Yep.
and it's made it a net benefit to be able to get alimony and child custody payments and whatever, rather than having the person be an equal parent. And that was one of the big objections with this equal parenting legislation that I tried to push for as well when I was representing them, is that if you have equal parenting, I actually had this. I'll tell you something. I had this conversation with a lawyer. I had a custody dispute, like I say, with one of my kids, and I remember saying to the lawyer, he says, "Well, what do you want?" I said, "I want equal parenting." I said, "I want equal time and equal parenting, and that's what I want." I said, "I'm not a bad guy. You have nothing to say against me. I want to be equal." He says, "We can't do that." I said, "Why?"
Wow.
I said, "Why?" He says, "Because then there won't be any money exchanged."
Oh my God.
Yeah.
At least
So
he was honest to you. Wow.
He was, yeah. He basically said, we want the money. We want the money. Right? And that's what it is. That's basically what it is. So all these feminists who talk about equality and all this custody, no, and there's a scam in it, because the lawyers it's a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Yeah.
It's in the billions and billions. In the US, maybe $1 trillion, because the market is so much bigger, right? I mean, these guys, but and men are always, they want to be the white knight and the hero, and they don't realize that you're not being a white knight to your kid. If you really want to be a white knight to somebody, you think about your child.
Yeah.
You think about spending time with that kid. And why do we have these kids today who don't want to have children? I mean, the reason they don't want to have children is because their family was screwed up, and they saw mom hates dad and dad hates mom, and they had some bitter custody dispute or something, and they've never forgotten it their whole life. So somehow the kid always gets caught in the middle, and he just says, I mean, you imagine what a conflict that is in your mind. Like, I love my mom, I love my dad, but they both are, they're both fighting
or
each other.
even worse, the parents could take it out on the kid. Oh no, the
do
parents
that
are
too.
done fighting each other, so they yell at the kid for no reason, or the parent or it gets ugly. They see the mom hit the dad, or they see the dad hit the mom. So you don't blame them. It's like, it's PTSD. It's like a whole generation of people live in PTSD from broken families.
Yeah. It's what I call, like I said, a daycare generation. And then they get raised by people who don't give them any guidance, who don't really have any love or compassion for them.
Talking about daycare, man, I'll tell you a story. Daycare. When I was in Evanston, my dad worked at the hospital in Evanston, and both my parents were working because, they were poor at the time, because it was hard. It was the start of two salary system, and they were working. So they sent me to daycare. Part of it, I wanted to go to daycare because I saw all these kids in daycare. I was like, oh, I get to hang out with kids. But damn, the daycare was horrible. Like I remember the teacher one time got mad and like dragged a kid into the corner. Like she literally dragged the kid, and this was one of the best daycares. And then I didn't speak English. I just came from China. So they never tried to teach me English. There's one daycare teacher who really tried, but the other ones there's just one lady who just laughed at me all the time. And this was one of the best daycares in Evanston.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm traumatized by it. There's one guy, he knew I didn't speak English. He knew I didn't like taking a nap. So he'd pull we all slept with our blankets. Right? He'd pull me close to him. So that way it's like I was forced to sleep next to him because he didn't want me just goofing off. And it's like, why am I sleeping next to this fucker who I don't know? I remember his name too. I think his name was Harvey, that fucking Harvey bastard. Hey, like Harvey Weinstein, but why is everyone named Harvey weird? I don't know. But the guy's name was Harvey. He kind of had that big fat white guy look like Harvey Weinstein. And he would always just pull me close. And so that way, I would be afraid to goof off when everyone was napping. But it's you don't do that to a 4-year-old kid. I was 3 actually. I was 4. I don't remember, but I just remember him pulled me over.
Yeah.
And that's one of the best daycares. It was put on by the Evanston Hospital, and there were kids crying all the time. I want my mommy. I remember that was the first phrase in English I learned. I want my mommy, because I heard all the other kids say that every day. I want my mommy.
Oh man, that's heartbreaking. That's so heartbreaking.
And one of the best daycares in Evanston.
Yeah. So let's take a step back. So why did people vote for Trump? Because they're pissed off at doing shit like that to their kids and they decide, I don't want to have any kids. Like that's probably why you're in this MGTOW thing. You're thinking, if I got to put my kid in daycare, like that's not right. I mean, you've been through this shit, right? And I find a lot of these kids who've been through that, and there's a certain nihilism that they've also developed as well, because it's the love of a mother, man. Like, I mean, when I was a kid, my mother was there. We had dinners always ready, and I mean, it was the end of that let's call it the great society of Western society, you know, the one that everybody aspires to, that doesn't exist anymore today. But that great Western society, and I feel fortunate because I was the end of the baby boom generation when you could actually afford to do that. And we didn't live like kings, okay? In some ways, there was certain deprivations financially because we didn't have a lot of money, but that love and that care. And everything I know about cooking today, my wife says to me, like, I could cook better than her, quite frankly. but I cook Western food and she cooks Eastern food. So we're kind of,
it's a good compliment.
It's a good compliment. I don't mind. You know what? I prefer the Asian food, because at my age, you got to watch your blood pressure and things like that. And their food is healthier. It's more holistic. So it's a better food for me. Western food, a lot of it is very heavy. But I mean, to get back, I learned how to cook from my mother. So once in a while, I do some cooking around the house. Although, truth be known, my wife does most of it. But I mean, that's one of the things. I mean, you know, a lot of men you see, middle-aged men who've been through this, former MGTOWs or whatever, they often get involved with Asian women. You see, well, why are there so many Asian women with white guys? Because the white guys, first of all, they have economic advantage because they're from a Western country. So the Asian women see that. I mean, and they want to have children. They want to be with someone who has some money.
The resources.
The resources. I mean, that's true. That part of a MGTOW thing is true. But the other side of this, what's her motivation? I mean, she wants to have family and she wants to provide for the kids, and which is his kids also. It's, you know, and so you get this. What I found is the family values are there. I have a hard time to trust Western women. I mean, because you always think that divorce is on the tip of their tongue, right? Anytime you're going to have an argument, this woman's going to say to you, "I want a divorce," like, or she's going to accuse me of something. She knows how to play the system now, and she has a financial incentive put in there by the state. And this is one of the reasons I believe in libertarianism. Is because the government is getting right in there, right into your family bed with you, and basically involving themselves in your most personal life. And with regards to your children, and now with the daycare thing, and then they go into the school system. These kids have not been given the guidance. I mean, I grew up with stories from my mother about her childhood and the experiences that she had, and you know, it's and values and how to do the right thing. And you know, some of them were religious values, some were not. It was just, you know, you don't treat people that way, you be nice to people, you know, you don't cheat and steal from people. These were the values that I was raised with as a child, and these are the values that come from mom. And the woman's job is the most critical job in the world. I mean, feminism has really sold out womanhood, because being a mom, raising the next generation, making the world perhaps a little better with your own little bit, which you're never going to be able to do in a job, by, you know, what you will be able to do by raising a couple of good kids and teaching them the skills that they're going to need to survive and go out in the world. That was the woman's role, and it's been degraded. I mean, men's job was never so good. You know, we just went out in the field. I mean, that's where it started, right? In the old agricultural days, the guy was out in the field, and I mean, my mother, I'm going to tell you something. She was really from the old school. She was raised in the 30s. She could cook and bake anything, like anything from scratch, man. I mean, my mother's idea of an insult on another woman was basically to say she cooks from a recipe book. You know?
That's amazing.
How ironic is that?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, everybody today cooks from a recipe book or a box, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the old school, and I find it I find here in Canada, because we're an immigrant nation, just like the United States. A lot of people don't realize that we had those Asian values. Asia has retained them, and keep them, man, keep them. Because quite frankly, I mean, we've got a son who's part Asian, and my wife and I have had conversations. I said, you know what? If we could afford it, I'd rather go raise my son in your country. I really want my son to be raised with proper family values, and to be here, where you have to have the 2-income family in order to strive. You know, it's the economic situation has become that difficult. Now, one of the things that I put in my book about this, I'm trying to ease this up. because if you look at our economy is changing. Okay, so in the Libertarian Charter, I put this in that the economy is changing, and I've seen one of the things I've done is not only criticism, but I've also got reform. We've been talking about some of the social issues.